welcome back to Minted Million Coins. Today I'm walking you through the exact coins you need to search for right now. And collectors are paying thousands for. It might be sitting in your wallet right now. What if I told you this coin is worth more than gold? Stay tuned because by the end of this video you'll never look at change the same way again. Let's get into it. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Minted Million Coins and press the bell icon so you never miss our freshly updated rare coin discoveries. Stop scrolling for just a moment, because the little 5-cent coin sitting in your hand may have a much bigger story than its face value suggests. This is the 2005 Jefferson Nickel, one of the most interesting nickels produced during the famous Westward Journey series. And if your 2005 nickel has the American bison on the reverse, you are looking at a coin that was designed to connect modern America with one of the most important journeys in U.S. history. But before you decide that every 2005 nickel is rare or valuable, there is something you need to understand. The real excitement comes from the details. The United States Mint created the Westward Journey Nickel series to commemorate the bicentennials of the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition. And in 2005, the Jefferson Nickel received a dramatic new look. The obverse introduced a new profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, while the reverse of the first 2005 design brought back an American bison, a powerful animal associated with the landscapes and wildlife encountered during the expedition. Now take a close look at your coin. Start with the date, 2005. Then look carefully at Jefferson's portrait. After that, flip the coin over and examine the reverse. If you see the bison, you have the American bison version of the 2005 Westward Journey Nickel. This design was not simply chosen because a buffalo looked impressive. It was intended to represent the wildlife encountered by the Lewis and Clark expedition. And here is where your coin searching adventure becomes interesting. Do not judge the coin only by the fact that it says 2005. Look at the mint mark, the overall condition, the sharpness of the details, the surface quality, and especially whether there are unusual minting characteristics. A heavily circulated nickel with scratches, dark spots, and flattened details is a very different collectible from a brilliant, sharply struck coin that has spent most of its life protected from circulation. If your example looks unusually clean, do not immediately spend it. Put it aside and inspect it under good lighting. Look around the date, lettering, portrait, rim and reverse design for anything that looks genuinely unusual. But be careful, damage caused after the coin left the mint is not the same thing as a valuable mint error. That distinction can make a huge difference when collectors evaluate coins. The American bison design was released as part of the final stage of the Westward Journey Nickel series, and the mint later issued another 2005 reverse known as Ocean in View, meaning that two different reverse designs exist for 2005. That makes your 2005 nickel even more interesting to examine. So if you have one in your collection, turn it over and ask yourself, is this the American bison design or Ocean in View? What mint mark does it carry? How strong are the details? And is the coin merely circulated, or does it have exceptional preservation? Those are the questions serious collectors ask before talking about value. And remember, a coin does not become valuable simply because someone online places a giant dollar amount beside the date. Real value depends on the exact coin, condition, rarity, demand, and what collectors are actually willing to pay. If you discover an unusual-looking 2005 nickel, compare it carefully with reliable references and consider professional authentication before assuming you have found something extraordinary. But regardless of its market value, this little nickel carries an amazing piece of American history. It represents Jefferson, the Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark, the journey westward, and the wildlife of the American frontier all compressed into a 5-cent coin. So before you throw your 2005 Jefferson Nickel into a jar of loose change, look again. Check the date, check the mint mark, flip it over, and study the design. Because sometimes the most interesting part of a coin isn't the number printed on it, it's the story hiding in plain sight. And if you enjoy discovering the stories behind ordinary American coins, make sure you subscribe. because the next coin in your pocket could be more interesting than you think. Here is a Jefferson nickel that looks ordinary at first glance. But the moment you understand what happened to the nickel in 2004, this 5-cent coin suddenly becomes much more fascinating. This is the 2004 P Jefferson Nickel, and that tiny P mint mark tells you something important. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But the real story isn't simply the letter P. The year 2004 marked a major change in the history of the Jefferson Nickel because, for the first time in decades, the reverse design was being changed as part of the Westward Journey Nickel series. The United States Mint created this series to commemorate the bicentennials of the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark Expedition. And this is where you need to look closely at your 2004 P coin. Because 2004 had two different reverse designs. The first was the piece metal design, and later in the year the Mint introduced the keelboat design. If your 2004 P nickel has the piece metal reverse, you are looking at a one-year type that commemorates the Louisiana Purchase and the relationship between Jefferson and Native American leaders. The design includes the symbolic clasped hands, representing peace and friendship, along with inscriptions connected to the Louisiana Purchase and 1803. But if your 2004 P has the keelboat reverse, the story changes. You will see a sailing vessel representing the boat used by the Lewis and Clark expedition as it traveled through the rivers of the Louisiana Territory. The Mint explains that the keelboat was capable of being sailed, rowed, poled, or even towed from the riverbank, a remarkable detail when you consider the enormous challenge faced by the expedition. So now take your coin and turn it over. Do you see the piece metal? Or do you see the sailing keelboat? That single observation can tell you which 2004 variety you have. And if your coin specifically carries the P mint mark, that means Philadelphia produced it. The 2004 P piece metal is documented by PCGs as having a very large mintage, so the date and mint mark alone do not make an ordinary example automatically rare. This is an important lesson for every coin collector. Rare looking does not always mean rare. The real examination begins with condition. Look for original surfaces, strong details, minimal scratches, attractive luster, and an overall appearance that separates your coin from the millions of ordinary circulated examples. Then check for legitimate varieties or mint errors. A genuine mint-made error can be much more interesting than ordinary wear. But be careful because scratches, dents, discoloration, and damage caused by machines or people after circulation are not automatically valuable errors. The 2004 P Jefferson Nickel is also fascinating because the Mint changed the reverse during the same year. The piece metal was released first, followed by the keelboat design later in 2004. That means your coin is part of a transitional moment in American coinage history. Imagine holding a coin that was produced during the year America temporarily abandoned the familiar Monticello reverse and began telling the story of westward exploration. That's what makes this nickel worth investigating. So before you spend your 2004 P Jefferson Nickel, check the reverse carefully. Identify the design. Inspect the condition. Examine the mint mark. And compare your coin with authenticated examples. And if you discover an unusually well-preserved example or a suspected mint error, don't clean it. Cleaning can damage a coin's surfaces and potentially reduce collector appeal. Instead, preserve it exactly as you found it and have it evaluated if necessary. Remember, this is only a 5-cent coin by denomination, but its historical story is enormous. The 2004 P Jefferson Nickel sits at the intersection of Thomas Jefferson, the Louisiana Purchase, Native American diplomacy, Lewis and Clark, and the American journey west. So the next time you see a tiny P beside a 2004 Jefferson Nickel, don't dismiss it. Flip it over. The reverse could reveal which chapter of the westward journey story you are holding. Before you spend that 2004 Jefferson Nickel, turn it over and look at it one more time, because 2004 was not an ordinary year for the Jefferson Nickel. This particular coin is the 2004 D Jefferson Nickel. meaning it was struck at the Denver Mint, and it belongs to the fascinating Westward Journey nickel series. But here's the part that makes this coin especially interesting. 2004 produced two different Jefferson Nickel reverse designs, and the design on your coin can tell you which chapter of the series you are holding. The first design was the piece metal reverse. The second was the keelboat reverse. Both were part of a historic redesign commemorating the bicentennials of the Louisiana Purchase and the Lewis and Clark expedition. So let's imagine you're holding your 2004 D nickel right now. On the front you should see the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson, along with "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and 2004. Now turn it around. If you see a symbolic piece metal design, you have the earlier 2004 type. If instead you see a boat with full sail, you're looking at the keelboat reverse. The United States Mint explains that the keelboat represented the vessel that transported members of the Lewis and Clark expedition and their supplies through the rivers of the Louisiana Territory as they searched for a route toward the Pacific. The ship wasn't just decoration. It represented transportation, exploration, hardship, and the enormous logistical challenge of moving people and supplies across unfamiliar territory. On the reverse you can also see the inscriptions Lewis and Clark and 5 cents, connecting the modern coin directly to that historic expedition. Now let's talk about what you should actually look for if you're searching your collection for a potentially desirable example. First, identify the D mint mark. Next, determine whether your coin is the piece metal or keelboat version. Then examine its condition under strong light. Are Jefferson's facial details sharp? Are the lettering and date crisp? Does the reverse have strong design detail? Are the surfaces relatively clean and free from major scratches, stains, gouges, or corrosion? A coin that survived circulation with exceptional preservation can be far more desirable to collectors than a heavily worn example. But don't make the mistake of believing that every 2004 D nickel is automatically rare or worth a fortune. Large numbers of these coins were produced, and ordinary circulated examples generally should not be marketed as hidden million-dollar treasures. Instead, the excitement is in finding the exceptional coin. Look for genuine mint errors, unusual characteristics, strong strikes, and high-grade examples, but verify anything unusual before making a value claim. Also remember one of the most important rules in coin collecting: never clean a potentially collectible coin. Polishing or harshly cleaning the surface can permanently change its appearance and potentially hurt its collector value. The 2004 D is also historically important because the familiar Monticello reverse was temporarily replaced as the mint followed the Lewis and Clark story westward. The series began in 2004 with the piece metal and then moved to the keelboat design later that year. Then, in 2005, the story continued with the American Bison and Ocean in View designs. So your 2004 D nickel isn't simply a 5-cent coin, it is one piece of a larger 2-year American historical story. And that is exactly why I want you to check your coin carefully. Look at the D mint mark. Check the 2004 date. Turn the coin over. Identify the reverse. Study the condition. Search for anything genuinely unusual. Then compare it against trusted numismatic references or have it examined by a qualified professional if something seems extraordinary. Because coin collecting isn't about assuming every old coin is valuable. It's about knowing what to look for. And sometimes, a tiny 5-cent piece can open the door to one of the most fascinating stories in American history. So the next time a 2004 D Jefferson nickel lands in your hand, don't rush to spend it. Stop. Look. Flip it over. And check twice. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Minted Million Coins, and press the bell icon so you never miss our freshly updated rare coin discoveries. Because the next valuable coin could be hiding anywhere, and you might be the person who finds it. So keep checking your coins, keep searching for hidden treasures, and stay with Minted Million Coins for more rare U.S. coins, valuable nickels, and unbelievable coin discoveries. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and join the hunt for America's next $1 million treasure.